Movies. Now, I've been to the movies a lot when I was a kid, when I was like 10, and when I was a teenager, and, it was mostly rated G and PG. I didn't mind, but PG 13 and R, when I was around 18, that was different, and, the tickets were like $5, and near these double doors that you see. The one on the right, not the one in the corner you can't see. Almost there's a arcade over there, and it's near the lobby, concession stand, and I usually went here. Over there with my mom and sister, sometimes alone, sometimes with friends, all that. And the movies I saw, Spider Man, Alpha and Omega, uh, things like that, all that stuff. It was good, Now, at the time, I didn't know better. I didn't know what Hollywood was, what goes on, and all that stuff, And this is just around the time I started to read a bunch of books, and it was better than DVD and VHS, And this is when I started going every few weeks, and this is actually part, I've been in one of these before. After, you know, so every time we went, we were there early. We would play the video game, the arcade. There was an arcade, not Arcadia, nothing like that. That was later. It was separate. It was still at the mall. Yeah, same building. Well, a different part. Yeah. But at that point, I started to have quarters in my pocket. Before I had a wallet. Before dollar bills, and I appreciate what I had. And I usually got some chocolate. It was I don't know what you call it, but it was based on crunch, and a soda. I'm more of a chips guy. I don't drink soda anymore, but I do like chocolate. And I don't really do sweets. But anyway, whenever we waited in line, me and my sister would just play some games, and we enjoyed that. And this, I was, this is when they had the posters, and you had to be in line to get tickets, and then you had to go to another one, and you you had to, it was before they had the racks, before they display it. Back then it was behind the glass, so you couldn't do anything. You had to say, I want that, and you know, they just grab it for you, and yeah, it was like, about $1. I don't know, and popcorn. I don't like that, but the smell, and they had the butter thing, and when we got there next to the fireplace, I was, we were these pillars, and it was next to the rated thing. You know what I mean? And at the time, they didn't actually do that, and these rooms, they were next to each other, and there was this black bar above the door, in red. It was digital. It said what the movie was and what time, and that was a time when I started to think, hey, you know and the door was open. If it was closed, it was likely starting or almost over, and You know, you would see someone go in and out every now and then, and it was like in the middle, and the red carpets, not the carpet, in the hallways. There's this bathroom with two parts, and anyone can go in. And on your left, women's, and to right in front of you, men's. I've never been to the girls' bathroom. I've been to the boys' bathroom, and right next to it was a staircase. To the projector, and during field trips, I went to movies, but this one I didn't go to see a movie, and this is in special ed, and I went up there and with all the other students, and we saw something, and for a few minutes, I'm like, nice, yeah. And if you've been in these seats, I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, like the moment you got your stuff, you went in, into one of these, and you sat down. I actually sat in the back, as in on top, not the bottom, front row. Now, usually we would be in the middle around here, and there was a time when I kind of got tired of it, And this is when I had a flip phone, not Nokia, not the phone I have now, everyone has a cell phone. They're always typing. So, yeah, when the screen turned on, almost immediately, they would just play the previews, this was to suit everyone, their needs. And I realized that this was not the movie, that was later. And there's this one part, just before the movie started, like just when the things were over, there's this walk, it's kind of like a sidewalk, it had stars and stuff, and you got a director in his chair with the thing, like action, and there's a spotlight, and the music's like a, and this is before the let's go to the lobby. I remember that a little bit later, close to 2020. Last time I've been here was 2019. And what's interesting, like every 30 minutes, maybe an hour, I would go to the bathroom just once, and then after I got halfway through my drink, after I was eating, sometimes I would have to go to the bathroom again, yeah, I understand that. But the thing is, when you're there, they used to have this warning, like turn your cell phones off, or just put it on vibrate, or just lower the volume, or something on the side. You know what I mean? This is before people were addicted, to stuff. Before people went on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, and all that. And even though promotions and ads were starting to go up, that was later. And then later, they said about 10 years ago, I was with a few friends, not dates, those are exceptions. When you have dates, I've had about a few girlfriends, not now. So we were watching this movie, I forget what it was, and I was, they said bullying is wrong, and they said on Cartoon Network, and I think Nickelodeon. This is when I stopped watching kids shows when I was like 20. And I later they had this puzzle. They wanted us to guess, and I'm like, and when it came to that, the previews, they stopped that And every time I watched a movie, I like that, but every time, I would just sit in those red seats, it felt soft. Yeah, sometimes there's like a candy on the side, it wasn't mine, it was like from the last one, you know, and I put my tickets in my pocket, they had to see it. Sometimes the admission, this guy in a vest, he would say, "Ticket, please." And that was rare. Like I had to show it again, or he wouldn't let me back in. And that's when things change. I did not like that. But hey, I was fine anyway. Like that was reasonable. And sometimes they had the date on it. There's this thing. It's like a desk. He has to stand. He can't sit down. You know, um, yeah, it's just how it is. Those are the rules. That sounds fair. Yeah. The movie. Yeah. But I just want to tell you, I usually went during the day. If you wanted to see something. But yeah. So here's the thing. When you go there, if you want to see a movie, here's the thing. You better have your money. You know. And at some point, it was rare for me to go there during the night. Like it was dark out. So one time, my sister wanted to see a movie, and I don't know what it was, but this is like a long time ago. You know, uh, so you know, uh, we dropped her off, and she went in, and at some point, I realized, oh, mom has to work early, like the next day. It's like Sunday, and I'm like, ah, man, But I did have some sleep, and at some point, past midnight, we woke up, and you know, uh, we had to pick her up. So within a few minutes, we were waiting. Very close to an hour. I sat on this bench. Inside it had holes. It's part of the design. You kind of sit down there next to the wall. And I'm like, ugh, you know, and I just did not like it. And then I'm like, finally, and she's like, let's go. And we were tired. Yeah, bored. You know, um, so I'll just tell you, when you get there, you know, um, yeah, there's hardly anyone over there. And there are these pamphlets, on these things. It had three sides. That I don't know what it is, but when I was about 18, I think one time I saw Miss Pac-Man. I played all video games there. Not plug and play, but yeah, I went there one time. I enjoyed it. I played normal Pac-Man too. And, yeah, and this is when people started to walk away from, like it. And remember back then when you were a kid, you would go over there, you would just play for a few minutes, and everyone was happy. Instead of mommy, when a kid tugs on your shirt, yeah, and I hardly saw any kids when I was an adult. Like I did not see any. Like I don't think I did. But I stay away from them. I just don't want to bother them. I just don't want any trouble. I didn't do anything. And later, a few years ago, there was this poster. a poster. It's about a religious movie. I don't know what it was, but I saw a few religious movies, not a lot. And I was raised Christian. Yeah, I was. You know, and I've been to churches. And later, I had a girlfriend. When I had a girlfriend, this one person. Uh, I forget the movie. The Secret Life of Pets or Sing. I don't know. It could have been both. But, I was going through some stuff. I really thought that I was, in big trouble. It had nothing to do with her, you know. But anyway, I enjoyed living. I still do. You live once, be thankful, enjoy it. You know, here's the thing. I can tell you this. I have not been to the movies ever since. I liked going there. There were some movies. I think I saw the Lego movie. And I lasted like a little bit. And there was this cop, like the nice one, and then the other one with sunglasses. He's like, huh? You know, like he's just one of those people you don't like. And you're like, back off, man. Like, come on, bro. Yeah. And, if you're older, I think you understand. But if you're younger, yeah, I don't think you'll understand. But you really have to understand something. You really do. You need an understanding. And, you know, uh, these things that happened before the movie, it would be like 30 minutes, a movie. So they would last about 1 to 2 hours, the whole thing. And, if you're waiting for someone, But, I did like this. And I'll let you know if I ever go to the movies again. I really like the movies. I like the movies. And here's the thing. You know, uh, make sure you get your tickets early. If you have money, you better get your money. And I hope you have a good time. I really do, and I appreciate for those who like movies. If you like movies.